Yeah, we first met in Timaru in the South Island. Been married for quite a number of years. And yeah, just a traditional sort of lifestyle. Had two boys. Very proud of my young sons, so they're great. For me, children are really important. The family itself, I'm very much a family-focused person. And just wanting to enjoy life. You know, life's meant to be fun, not anything else.
Family life's kept us pretty busy, and work as well. Two boys, 21 and 23, soon to be 24. Yeah, so they've kept us pretty busy as well. Yeah, and our 21-year-old's living back with us now. Hopefully not for too long.
I've spent about 30 years in the travel industry doing lots of different facets of that, whether it be running hotels or restaurants or working in travel agencies, so pretty much all that tourism based.
You were passionate about your work?
Yeah, loved it.
Yeah, because you meet lots of people through
and
travel.
travelled lots and did all that sort of fun stuff, so you really can't complain about my life. I went in because I was getting some pain to see my GP, just to try and discover what was going on with it. And they did some tests and they discovered that I had kidney cancer. So that was a bit of a shocker. Coming in fairly blind, that I'd never spent a day in hospital apart from when I was born or, you know, prior to that, and had a really fit and healthy lifestyle, and, well, probably not a healthy lifestyle, but I wasn't sick. I had the operation in January to have one of my kidneys removed, which was seemed to go really, really well and swimmingly fast. And then post-operative care was great, and sort of was felt that it had all been done and sorted, and that I was, you know, ahead of the game, and I dodged a bullet with that one. But then unexpectedly, in sort of like a matter of months ago, I had a bit of a turn and went back in, and they discovered that it had spread, so that they hadn't it hadn't been encapsulated and removed totally, that it had gone through the rest of my body, and been given the terminal diagnosis at that stage that it was a serious job. Amanda, I've got a lot of time for. She's really, really good and really calls a spade, so it was no beating around the bush. It was like, it's terribly sorry that this has happened to you, and but this is what's happened, so this is what it is, and this is what you've got to deal with. There was so much other information given in the consult that just went over the top of my head, so not because I couldn't understand it, it was because I was dealing with two words, probably, cancer and terminal, and that takes quite a bit of focus to deal with those, to hold it together and think, right, what else do I have to, know about?
David had asked Amanda, the doctor, to give me a ring and let me know, all the details of what was happening to David. So she gave me a ring at work, and I probably said to her all straight up, be honest with me, tell me how it is. And she said, well, it's not good. And then from that, I knew, it wasn't good. And yeah, she said he's got terminal cancer.
For me, I really like to have a plan, and it's easier to plan if I know a definitive answer. So whilst frustrating from a medical professional's point of view, that I might really start hammering them about, I want to know an answer. I want to know when. You've told me this is terminal. I need to know, is terminal 3 weeks? Is terminal 6 months? But that's an emotional response. When you're asking a direct question like that in the sensible side of your brain, hasn't got an answer. There's some things that just are. The long and short of it was, I was admitted, and that was a whole different process, and probably my first main contact with the health board situation, as opposed to either through GP or anything else. So that was a different ball game altogether, coming from a relatively small and close environment of a GP that I'd known for years and trusted and everything else, to you're on your own sort of environment of here you're going into this mess, which we call a health board, and they're going to look after you for a bit. So that was a big transition. By going into an environment when you're on your own, to me, what that means is one which I'm not familiar with and one which I'm not comfortable with, just because I haven't had to experience it before. At the beginning of our chat, I said that prior to all this happening, I'd had a really good and fit and healthy lifestyle, so I'd never had to go into hospital, apart from with the kids things, that sort of thing. So it was never really about me. So this is my first time of having to be involved in the health system for myself. Obviously Diane was with me the whole way through, which was great, and I was sharing that, but it's still a whole new experience, and I did feel quite alone, realising that the person that I'm asking questions to at any given time, I could not see them again. So whether it be a nurse professional that I'm talking with or a doctor, they might just be in my life for 20 minutes, and then it's someone new next shift. Whilst I knew I had a terminal condition, remembering that I didn't know whether terminal after battering poor Amanda had been given down to Christmas time, but there again in the hospital when I first went in for that, I struck one doctor that said, you may not make it through the night, which is a whole different time frame to 6 months down the track. And to have a comment which is relative and honest, but that's then just moving on to someone else, that's always hard to deal with as well too. I couldn't dodge it and go, it's Christmas, I'm fine, it's it's 5 months away, or it's 3 months away, or I know I'm not going to die now because it's not right, they told me it was Christmas. For all the nuances or whatever that can happen in your treatment, understanding that, or for someone to say to me, it could be tonight, that was horrific. That was something which I hadn't put into my reality of being, it could be actually. So that disturbed me probably more than anything else.
I'd got back home from ICU, and then David phoned me and said, the doctor said that I might not make it through the night because he may have a heart attack due to what was happening with his body. And I said, well, I may not have said it, but I thought, trust the jolly doctor to say that when I've gone home. It would have been nice if I'd been there. And he rang me, he was all upset about that, that comment. So then I drove back into the hospital to be with him, and then I rang my son in Wellington and called him up, and I thought, I better not leave this to the morning. So I rang him at some ungodly hour, like 2 in the morning, and him and his girlfriend drove all the way up from Wellington in the middle of the night, and my other son went with me to the hospital with his cousin. And I rang David's brother as well, because I thought, when a doctor says, says that, you've got to take it seriously.
So as far as when I did do the check into ED and what was asked of me at that stage, it was much more factual information. So, did you have a resus order in place? Yes or no? Was it there? Tick. Much more following a list as opposed to broader questions which may be asked, which, had you got any particular thoughts in mind of what care would be acceptable for you at this stage?
When we were in the hospital, they did not ask if David had an advanced care plan of me. So I guess the thing is, if we'd been there a little bit longer and he was deteriorating, I would let them know that he actually had one. But I guess some people might not be onto it so much about having one. Yeah. And I would hope that they would ask me that. Yeah, has he got one? And I would say yes, and I know everything that's in it, or I can bring it into them. I'm not sure I'm assuming the hospice does speak to the hospital, so hopefully the advanced care planning the information does get to the hospital.
Within all this going on, I was referred to the hospice as well as helping managing my situation. And they went through different options of what this actually means. If it gets to a situation where they can keep you comfortable and just let you go, that would be another option to discuss or another option to think about. So to me, the do not resuscitate isn't saying that I'm giving up, but it's just going enough's enough. So coming to a scenario where I'd rather go, to my understanding, I'll be kept happy and healthy, happy and content and not in pain, but really left in the will of what will happen or what will happen. So whether or not I need that, resuscitation is even an option, I don't know. So, and it's not an option for me because I just want to take it as naturally as what I possibly can. I don't understand your jargon, and I understand that's probably where you're most comfortable in talking to me about it, because that keeps it separate and it keeps it clinical for you. It doesn't make it real for me, because it is just too clinical. But without being talked down to, because that would be really bad at that stage. I'd probably get violent. I don't want to be treated or feel that I'm being treated that I'm insignificant or that I don't matter. So probably for whoever's treated me to be aware that I am a person and that I do matter.